Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Inconsequential Runner. Thank you for joining us. And Coach Mark, we are back to have a chat.
Oh, I always love chatting about running, Darcy. It's not a chore.
Oh, it so isn't. I have been looking forward to this all week. It has been in my diary. So here we are. And the great thing about this video is as soon as we finished it, because we don't do any edits or not a lot, it's going to be up online within maybe a couple of hours after we finish having this chat. So it is live. Let's talk about what we're going to cover off in this video in terms of the week, couple of weeks in review in the running. I'll start. The things I'm going to cover off, we've still got to talk about the UK and the US trials, whole bunch of stuff on that. So I want to go through the highlights in that. We've just had the Paris Diamond League occur. A couple of things in there that I need to talk about. And I've got a smattering of other things, some short, sharp questions for you, Coach Mark. But I'll cover those off later. But by and large, it's going to be, for me, run so much running, so many events have happened recently. So we're going to be covering off those. What about from your perspective? What do you want to cover off, Coach Mark? What are the highlights?
Well, probably nothing as exciting as you, but I've just been up at a big cross country event in North Island, New Zealand, North Island cross country champs, and just sort of talk a bit about it and what's so special about running in a team event and so that's in an individual sport,
Yep.
and how special that can be.
Perfect.
And along with that, people who belong to Harrier clubs. And what are Harrier clubs? Where does that come from? Where does that name come from? So I can just share a bit of info there that people don't know. I've got a bit there. On a little tip, sort of a topical sort of tip that might be useful as well. In the depths of winter as we are here. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Well, where do you want to start? We can start anywhere. Where would you like to start?
I think start with the with all the athletic competitions.
Let's do that.
A good place to start.
Okay.
That'd be great.
There's three I want to talk about. There's the UK trials, the US trials, and the Paris Diamond League. Let's go to Hayward Field. Hayward Field, where they had the US trials. Hayward Field, how good is that? When did that get fitted out? Fairly
incredible, eh? Yeah, I think they fitted it out because 2 years ago they held the World Athletics Champs there, and that prompted the fit out. Yeah,
that's right.
It looks impressive, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, so anyone who's watching this, if you don't know what we're talking about, Hayward, Hayward, Hayward Field, just click images on Google and it's what a field. I mean, I could live there. I mean, we're not just talking the track, the underground facilities and the training facilities that are around the track, and even the seats in the track. Super comfortable. Anyway, okay. US trials. Let me start with this. Well, we've got Athing Mu and her fall in 800 meters. Need to talk about that. But the thing that really shocked me, Paul Chelimo came 26 in the UK. Now, this is the gentleman who's won medals in the Olympics. Was he sick? I don't know, but that stood out for me. Anything big that stood out for you in the US trials?
For me, the big race was the 1500 meters for both men and women. Actually, just incredible quality in both those events. They were probably the two ones. But right across the board, all the races were so good. I mean, the format, it's so cutthroat. It's first three, no arguments.
Yeah.
Unless someone's comes top three and they haven't made the time, the qualifying standard, and then it goes down. But it makes it so incredible viewing because there's so much on the line. I mean, and for most of these people, it's almost more cutthroat than the Olympics, because to make the Olympics is huge. Once you're at the Olympics, it's pretty tough to win a medal, of course, but to get there is probably every runner's dream, I imagine. Really, you know, who's got ambitions sort of competitively from a young age, to make that Olympic team. And you saw the heartbreak of some people, you know, coming fourth by tenths of a second, for example.
And this is what you're talking about, right? The US selection policy, for those that don't know, and Coach Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is, you know, depending on the race, it could be the top three in the race. It is the top three in the final of that race goes to the Olympics. Nothing prior, nothing post counts for anything. So there's a lot of people that have won medals for the States in the previous Olympics in Tokyo that will not be going to this because of accident, incident, that sort of thing. If you, and there was no bigger example of that, I think, when you look at the 800 meters, the defending gold medal champion from Tokyo, Thing Mu, tripped and fell in the 800 meters. I almost said 0800, the 800 meters. That's it. It's gone. She's out. No other second chance or anything. That's the brutality of the US selection system. Massive, right?
It is massive. Yeah. I mean, and that's an instance where you know, they miss out on probably a certain medal, you'd think, at the Olympics from doing that. On the positive side, though, on the plus side of them having this, they get the people who are the form people at the time, so they don't rely on, you know, and there's none of that subjective thing you get in other countries where you're relying on a committee, who to which has happened a lot in our country, New Zealand, where people have certainly deserved to go, and for one reason they just haven't been selected, you know. So that's it prevents all that. Everyone I know, as cruel as it is, every American athlete knows this is what it has to be, and it tests them in Olympic conditions with rounds, cutthroat, having to get through to the final and compete on one particular day at your best. And that's what it does. And they have the luxury of having so many people who could represent their country, which other countries don't. But it's really the only way they can do it. I mean, there's really no other way, because if they did it, well, we'll talk about the British one in a moment, but they have a, you know, not quite so cutthroat way, but even with that, that's allowed the subjective nature, which causes all sorts of arguments afterwards. But there's no argument. You know, they couldn't rerun Thing Mu's race, and you know, and the three people who went are all good runners, so they could all get medals anyway. That's I mean, it's tough. Did I talk about Dan O'Brien? Have I talked about him, the decathlete?
No.
Oh, okay. So just quickly, this is a classic case. This is even more so than Thing Mu, really. So he was the reigning world champion, world record holder in the decathlon. Dead cert almost in the Olympics, if there's such a thing. So in the trials, he was going for it, and he was on world record. He was well on for a world record. 8th event, I think it is, in the decathlon, is the pole vault. So because he was on for the world record, he set the height, his opening height. He passed opening height quite high.
Passing means he didn't get over the bar. He let it go.
No, he just waved it. He said, I'm not going to take this. I'm going to come in high. So he didn't even record a low jump. He missed 3 jumps. So he went on from dead cert, world record, out of the Olympics.
Because in decathlon,
because you know he didn't record a height, so he had 9. You're
gone. He should have just jumped 1 just to keep him in contention. That's crazy. That's crazy. It? That's when you need a coach to pull you over and go, no, the big thing is get into the Olympics. It's not about getting a world record. It's about representing the states. Okay, so let's talk about other people.
Yeah, sorry, but you know, after that, he 4 more years, won the trials, the next Olympic Games, won the Olympic gold, the next Olympics. So happy ending.
Happy ending.
Anyway, that's what
you might say he should have got 2 golds, all going well. But okay. So what stood out for me, last little thing then for US trials, because I want to get on to UK. I mean, there was some great stuff in here too. Hobbs Kessler really surprised me. You saw Cole Hocker really stand up and just show incredible legs over a couple of events.
Incredible.
But Hobbs Kessler, he looks like he's come in the goods. Young man, come in the goods. He is. And you had McLaughlin set a world record, 50.65 for the 400-meter women's hurdles. I cannot wait to see her against Femke Bol, because being a different sort of, I can't wait. But I get the sneaking suspicion that Sydney McLaughlin is just a couple of clicks, or maybe half a click, ahead of Femke Bol. As good as she is,
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
What a race. Wow. I mean, that's you've got to think that's going to be a world record if conditions are right.
Yep.
Because no one's pushed Sydney McLaughlin yet. She's running, or Femke Bol, because they haven't met in ages, actually.
Yep, they're both ahead of their respective continents and how they're going and that. Okay, all right, UK. You start us off on UK. Tell us a little bit about their selection policy before we talk about their trials, which were at the they were at the Manchester Regional Arena. I laugh because it's right. You know where I'm going with this, right? Built onto Man City. Man City's grounds. So Manchester City. Those that know, I'm a Man United supporter. Look, I don't begrudge City. What a great complex. But hey, if I'm going to go to the track and check it out, it's going to be right. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about UK, because there were a couple of runners that were and they ran out of events like Josh Kerr, and there was a trip in the 800 meters. Tell us a little bit about the UK selection policy. How's that different from the States?
Well, theirs is a little bit different, where they have the top two. The top two were pretty much guaranteed, but not dead cert guaranteed. But they were guaranteed as long as they had the standard.
Yep.
So they were guaranteed to go, and then if they're in some events like the 1500 meters with Josh Kerr, there was a discretionary place where they were told, you've got you're in the team, which is good. Britain's done that before, and that's worked quite well, because if they've got someone that's they think, well, look, they've performed so well very recently and in major champs, we don't want to stuff up their training, and we trust them that they're going to get to the Olympics in good form.
Yep.
We'll pre-select them so they don't then have to go through hoops. And there's two spaces available for the remaining ones.
Yep.
So that was the case. That was certainly the case in the 1500 meters. They said whoever comes first and second, as long as they've got the standard, they will go, and Josh Kerr will be the third one.
Now the thing is,
that made it cutthroat as well, in a sort of way, didn't it? And of course Jake Whiteman, as you know, he injured himself before the trials, so he couldn't compete in the trials. So then really there was no way he could get a place in the 1500 meters, because the first two guys both had the standard. Yeah.
So that's it for Jake Whiteman.
But but the good news for Jake Whiteman is he had the standard for the 800 meters, and in fact he was the fastest UK runner this year over 800 meters.
Okay.
So he's been given the discretionary place for 800 meters.
Okay.
Which was going further about where we'll talk about a certain person got tripped. That was bad luck for them, good luck for Jake Whiteman.
Well, let's talk about that right now.
Third place.
What a great segue. So Josh Kerr, who's already he was pre-selected for the 1500, sounded like, if I remember his press conferences, he was using the 800 to get some speed in the legs. He made it through to the final. He was sitting in about 4th position, I think, at about 150 meters. You thought, okay, he's going to roll to the end, but he didn't. with about 80 to go, he saw an opening on the inside of the track, and he was holding strong, as you would expect from a 1500-meter runner. He kicked down a gear, going faster, tried to take that inside gap, which then closed on him. To be fair, it closed on him. And he and the person who was leading at the time, who was looking good for the win, tangled, boom, both out.
Yeah.
Both hit. So, and
Elliot Giles, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know if people saw my ridiculous video where I was pitching that we should have an extra lane on the inside of the home straight of the track. If we had that, we'd be fine. There wouldn't be any tripping. And of course, there's no shortcut, someone to take that extra lane, extra distance, but then everybody could open up, find something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's sort of cycling and the sprint finish sort of mindset. But inside lane on the track, okay, let me park that. So yeah, let's talk about that trip, because it was big. It was big.
Yeah, and I mean, who do you reckon was at fault? Because I thought Kerr was he was finishing so strongly. It was such a shame. He almost felt he could have come through and taken the win, or certainly,
Yep.
He was moving fast, wasn't he? Which is great for him coming into the limit. He's obviously sharp, isn't he?
Yep.
I forget that. I actually think Giles was at fault.
Yes.
I think. Do you think that?
Yeah. I think Giles, the line he was running for the first part of that last 100 meters, the home straight, his line was wide enough where he gave a clear gap for Josh Kerr to come through. Josh was like, I'm going to take it. And as he was coming through, Giles came off his line. This is how I saw it. He came off his line and he came purposely to shut him down. He would have known Josh was there. He's a big guy. He's running fast. He's breathing. Everybody that's run track knows that, your sensory, you can pick up usually where everyone's around you. He knew he was there. He just wanted to shut him down, and it cost him. And he shouldn't have, because he was in he was going to come at least first or second.
Yes. He was fading, wasn't he? I thought Giles was fading.
So yeah, I think Giles made a mistake, and I think on retrospect he would see that. I feel sorry for him, of course. You don't want anyone to trip, and like you said, Mark, everybody wanted to know if Josh would have got there, because he was smoking. He hit the next level. He was away.
Yeah. See, Giles has been running really well. So if he had finished, although it looked like he might have got fourth, so that might not have stood in his favour.
Okay.
Even with Kerr obviously not going for the 8, but because he didn't finish, it was pretty clear cut. Whiteman took the spot.
Yep.
But I tell you what, I cannot wait for the Olympic 800 meters. I'm a big fan of British athletics, because having run over there for so many years. But I see the 3 British 800 meter runners that all medal chances.
Oh wow!
Ben Patterson, who won it, he is unbelievable. He can run 46 for 400 meters. He got the bronze at the World Champs last year.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember. No. And Max Bergen, who came second, he is the wonder kid. He's been the wonder kid of British running since he was about 15. He set world records for his age. I think he ran sub 150 for 800 when he was about, was it 16, 17, something ridiculous.
Wow.
But he's had injury after injury after injury. It's turned out they've diagnosed the problem as an unusual sort of problem he had. But this was his first race of the year.
Yeah.
First race of the season, and he almost won. I mean, he took it on, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's an exciting runner. I can only see him if he can stay injury-free. And he makes the final. He's going to be right in there. And then Jake Whiteman, of course, he is a sharp runner, canny runner, and he's talking quite positively about the 800, being in the 800. I think it was just a minor calf niggle just at the time of it. But it's looking exciting, eh?
It's looking.
When you compare them to the Kenyans and Shajati and Arop and Hoppel, of course. exciting stuff. But you got to remember as well, because you had the American, because like you, I was flicking over between the two of them, and you couldn't avoid comparing, the razzmatazz and everything of the American one. The British one seemed very down. But also, see, you got the Oregon track is one of the fastest tracks in the world. By comparison, Manchester is like a warm-up track, so it's not a fast track compared to Oregon. So, but you can't. It's a bit hard to compare the two, performances.
Yeah.
Plus, it was raining in Manchester, which it often is. I mean, Manchester's a nice place, but it does rain a lot, and it was blowing a bit as well, I think.
Yeah.
Like at Newtown Park on a bad day.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, it all adds to the excitement, eh? It's going to be fantastic.
Cannot wait for the Olympics. All right. And just for those that are watching that aren't familiar and they'll be watching for the first time, especially if they're in Australia, New Zealand, track and field events with them being in Paris, Paddy, they're usually on in the evening, so it's going to be the morning here. So it's going to be an okay time to watch them.
Yep. Yeah. Sort of breakfast. They have a breakfast.
Perfect. Can't beat that. Okay, and talking about Paris Diamond League, for me, two big things there. Now, you had Faith Kipyegon break the women's world record again, and I've got to think, you don't have to respond to this because I know I'm going to say something crazy, but I've got to wonder if she gets something around her, like, a bunch of paces that can help her with speed right at the start, kind of like we did with breaking 2, where it was just a set-up event for Eliud Kipchoge to break 2. I believe that Faith has got enough in her where she can look at a sub 4-minute mile, if not now, really soon. As I say, if it's set up on the track, lots of people around her, breaking the wind, good speed right off the start. So she's not, because this world record that she's now got, which is 10 seconds short for the 1600, and of course a mile was 16:10. So it's a little bit longer, but it's a race, and the 800 meters in it, she finishes strong, and the first 800 meters is always slower than I think she's capable of. But the big news, I'm going off on a tangent, forgive me, but her quality is so good that I think I can even make a ridiculous statement that potentially she can do a 4-minute mile, sub 4-minute mile. But the big one for me was Jess Hull. Sticking with Faith until the last about 150. You thought the gap was big enough now that it broke. What an amazing run. And then you had the women's record in the high jump. Those were the things that stood out for me in the Paris Diamond League. Mark, over to you. What did you see? What do you want to talk about?
Well, the men, again, going back to 800 meters.
Yeah.
You had the third, fourth, and fifth fastest times ever.
Yeah.
And they were all within, was it 200s, 300s, the first 3, I think. It was something like that. They're all in it.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, what's the Olympics going to be like? I mean, there's going to be so many great people missing out. Often the semi-finals are even better than the final because, again, a bit like the US trials, it's like everyone obviously wants to make the final, and it's so cutthroat. But to have that sort of 141, wow,
the time
that was amazing, But so many highlights. That women's 1500 meters, I think the first 12 broke 4 minutes.
Yeah,
the 4 minutes used to be special. Hardly anyone breaks it. If you break 4 minutes, you're like looking like a medal chance.
Yeah.
8 people broke it in the US trials.
Yeah.
So it's 1500 meter running, or women's running in general has just come down. Awesome. People like Kipyegon. Raising the bar, aren't they?
Kipyegon. Yeah. What did I say? Kipyegon. Yeah. I need to.
I know.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Coach Mark. Jump in with any stuff. And the other thing was Duplantis. He jumped 6 meters, easy.
Yes.
Everyone else is out. He's got it, and he goes 6:25, which is a world record.
Yes.
Put the bar up there. Now, he didn't get it because there was a number of things, and he was spending a long time waiting for the wind. I think his first attempt at 6:25 was just, he didn't even attempt it. He just ran out of time because the windsock was, you know, getting up to a 30-degree angle at times, and then it was quite gusty.
Yeah.
But gosh, there's just performances like just unbelievable, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about the cross country. Tell us about the cross country, Coach Mark.
Oh yeah, well, in the weekend, I mean, it's a change of pace from the US trials and the Diamond League, but so the winter here and in New Zealand, and I went up, travelled with my running club. Shout out to Olympic Harriers,
Olympic Harriers,
the North Island cross country champs in Taupo.
Yeah.
And I tell you what's so good about something like that is you know, running such an individual sport, and it can be quite lonely, and you generally, I mean, there's a lot of camaraderie when you go out training with people and that, if you can, and that's wonderful. Generally, when you're competing, you feel like very much alone, don't you? So it's wonderful when you do an event like this, because it's essentially a team event. And what was especially good about this one is everyone counted. So everyone who ran got a point or more for their club, depending on where they came. And at the end of it, they tallied up all the points, and our club, Olympic Harriers, actually won the trophy for the most points, which was wonderful. And it was just you felt like you were part of a squad of people, and everyone was supporting everyone. So that's the other thing, because you got a vested interest in how other people do, because you're all battling for the same prize. It's a good way. Anyone who hasn't run cross country, I mean, it's a great thing to do. I mean, we're all parts of members of Harrier clubs, and a lot of people say to me, "What is a Harrier club? Where does that come from? Where does that name come from?" My grandmother, she used to say, when I was a kid, she had no idea what Harriers was, and she used to say to me, she'd go, "Oh, you're going to play Harriers today?" She had no idea what I did. Yeah. But what it comes from old English thing, hare and hounds. That's where it actually started from. Right. So that way back in the day, where a hare would go out and lay a trail, a paper trail, and then the hounds would go after it, and they'd run over the country to do it. So that morphed into that whole premise is still carried on with the Hash House Harriers. So they still do that. One person sets a trail and everyone follows it. And in fact, when I was in England, the club I belonged to wasn't too far away from a club called Thames Hare and Hounds, which was in Richmond Park, and that was the world's first Harrier club. So that was its claim to fame. And so that was very, very old origins. But it's Harriers. So I think New Zealand have Harriers, and Australia have Harriers, possibly. England certainly have Harriers. I don't know if any other country does. They certainly don't in America.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to go for a little trip. So a couple of things. One, I'll keep my eyes out and see if they're Harriers in other parts of the world. But look, if anyone is in Manchester, Amsterdam, and we're talking mainly September this year, Manchester, Amsterdam, Paris, definitely, Barcelona or Madrid, and you want to go for a run, throw it in the comments or reach out, let me know, and let's go for a run together. You show me around your local town. Actually, Coach Mark, if you were to run in one track, talking about the quality of the tracks in Hayward, if there was one track you could just train on, just to say that you've trained on it, is there one track in the world that you would choose over any other? I mean, you've got Andorra, which is beautiful. You've got one steeped in history. You've got Hayward, which is probably the best facilities. If you would train in one track, you got a free ticket to train at one track in the world, where would you train?
Yeah, they're probably. I'd love to train on the Berlin track, where that's where our famous Jack Lovelock won his Olympic gold medal, and I'd love to just train on that, because I've been to that stadium actually, but didn't get to. I was allowed to run on the track, and that would just be magical. I also love that one. Is it is it Nike have that track that goes all through the bush or with the
yes,
with the
yeah,
trees
and it's only about a
forest?
4-laner. Yep, and
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty special.
yeah, yeah, that would be really good. Okay, how are we going for time? Got a handful of minutes left. Coach Mark, you were going to give us
All right.
running in winter. So for those of you in the southern hemisphere right now, and especially if you're looking out this window, I know it looks bright. If you can see it, I might crop that. But anyway, it's pouring with rain. It's wet. It's windy. It's cold. Coach Mark, couple of minutes. Give us a tip.
Oh, it's straightforward, really. But you know that the hardest thing's getting out the door, and once you're out the door, it's never generally a problem. So my advice is just get out the door as soon as you can. Don't procrastinate at all. So you got obviously motivation wanes, waxes and wanes, goes up and down, but the things that shouldn't change are routine and discipline. And if you have a routine, so you run at this time every day, or maybe you might run at different times, but that is the time you've set aside that you're going to run, you just run at that time. You have your gear ready, you get it on, get out the door, and then think about things. Even if you're not totally sure what you're going to do or where you're going to go, just get out the door.
I love that. I love that.
Get on your way.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is that internal dialogue that happens a lot pre-run. You're saying don't even entertain that. Get your gear on, get outside. And if you're going to complain about the weather, don't do pre-run, complain about the weather while you're out there. But we all know chances are you won't. And it's never as bad outside as it sounds from the inside.
No. I spent many winters in London. So I'd run after work and I'd spend an hour on the tube getting home, freezing, raining weather. And I just used to basically walk in the door of the lovely warm house, just say hi to my wife, put my gear on, turn around and go straight back out the door. If I even stopped, I was done for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that worked.
That's
you might be out there go, oh, what am I doing? But you're out there. Once you're out there, you think, well, I'm out here.
You're soft, Coach
and
Mark.
You tick off a run.
Yeah. I don't even go inside a warm house. So, I'll spend an hour coming home. I'll be wet already.
Yep.
And I have my running gear already in a cold bucket of water waiting outside the front door. And I just get straight into it. Don't even get inside the house and go for a run. So you're soft, Coach Mark.
Oh, I am. I am, yeah.
No, that's a good tip. That's a good tip because the longer you spend taking in that hot air and coming up with excuses and not to go and lying to yourself about how your long run now will be 32 Ks in the weekend instead of the planned 22. Don't. Good tip, Coach Mark. Just get your gear on. Just start. Just get it going. Okay, what have we got coming up? We have got the Diamond League in Monaco on Monday. On Monday our time, I think, but it's July the 12th in Monaco, the Diamond League. So get access to that, everybody. Coach Mark, that's homework.
Have you seen, by the way, the field for the men's 400 hurdles for that? It's going to be Benjamin, Varholm, and Dos Santos.
Oh, I was going to ask if the Brazilians
big three are going to match up. Cool.
Because that could be your Olympic gold, silver, bronze right there. There's amazing. And Dos Santos has been doing some fantastic stuff recently. Okay, and Varholm we haven't seen for a little while now, so it'll be good to see him on the track. All right, sold. We'll catch up soon. That's it. We've covered everything. Brilliant. So for those of you that are hanging around, thank you for making it to the end. You know what to do. If this was good for you, hit like. If you want to stay around and you haven't already, hit subscribe. Coach Mark's details are in the show notes. So if you want to drop him a line, if you want Coach Mark to be your coach, his email address is there. Drop him a line. That's it. I'm out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody. Catch you later, Coach Mark.
Cheers, Darcy. See you later.